Jackson Blatner is a nutrition expert and an author and just an all-around amazing person. I've known her for a really long time. It's so good to see you. And I wanted to have a conversation as far as the new year. A lot of people have made fitness and nutrition a goal, as we do, every year. But sometimes when we think we're doing something healthy, we may not necessarily be doing that. So I wanted to kind of chat through some of the myths and some of the things that people might go through and give us a little bit of insight.
Awesome topic, because you're so right. People want to be healthy, and sometimes they are doing things that are making them unhealthy. So let's get all those myths out of the way.
All right, let's go through the first one. A lot of times you might be strict Monday through Friday with your workouts and your diet, but come Saturday and Sunday, it's like, this is my time. Is that an all right way to do things?
Your weekend will sabotage you. You don't need to be perfect during the week, and you don't need to let loose out of control on the weekend. Finding a balance every single day, like being a B student every single day, is actually the most sustainable way to be healthy in the long run.
So let's talk, obviously, when you think of watching your diet and watching what you're eating, salad is the first thing that comes to mind. But if you go out to a restaurant, there's buffalo chicken salad, which I know I've been guilty because that sounds pretty good. It's like, I get to enjoy buffalo chicken, but it's also a salad. So is it good for me? Let's talk a little bit about preparing salads at home and having salads out at a restaurant.
Okay, so salads in essence are a very good for you food. It's all the stuff that goes on them that is starting to sabotage you. So at home, instead of using like fat-free dressing, using a full fat dressing and just not that much of it is a great idea, because you get actually more nutrition absorbable from that salad. Plus, it tastes better. Trick there is, if you toss your salad with just a little bit of dressing, it coats the whole thing as opposed to just like pouring it over the top, like many of us do. So tossing it in full fat dressing and not that much is great at home. At a restaurant, we've got to know, you've seen those diagrams all the time. This salad is more calories than this burger, because oftentimes that is true. So when you're getting a salad at a restaurant, just think about all the extra toppings on there, and like, hey, you could order it, but maybe you split it with somebody because the salads are huge. And I think that's always a good idea at a restaurant, is like thinking about eating small as opposed to ordering like the healthiest thing on the menu.
And you just mentioned fat-free dressing. As far as looking at things that are marketed as fat-free, or a lot of the diet sodas are now not diet sodas, but zero sugar or low sugar. How are those things, are those things that we should be looking at, or is those things that we should be staying away from?
Okay, I got a real lesson here. Don't be a sucker for marketing, right? Like, please do not look at the front of packages for gluten-free or vegetarian or plant-based or diet or sugar-free or whatever. No, you look at the ingredient list. So flip it over, get your magnifying glass out, because it's usually very small print. Look at the ingredients, and if it's actually food, yeah, eat it. But most of the time, these diet things, these gluten-free things, these plant-based things are just chemicals that aren't actually nourishing your body.
Now, you have a book about being a flexitarian, the flexitarian diet. So someone wants to incorporate more vegetables, live more of a plant-based life. What are some tips as far as doing that, incorporating that into your diet?
Well, thanks for bringing up my baby, the flexitarian diet. So it's about being flexible and getting more vegetables in. So the first rule of thumb here is don't go overboard. Just think about maybe one new vegetarian recipe a week. Try it out. In a year, you'll like some of the things you make. You won't like some of the others. But in a year, you'll have enough things that you've tried that become part of your rotation. So even if it's just that one recipe, that's a great first start. Or if you're like, oh, I don't even want to deal with a recipe, can't you give me something easier? You know what? Just put a pile of greens on just about anything you're doing. So you're scrambling eggs, just shove a handful of spinach in there. You're eating leftover Chinese food from the day before. Just shove some extra arugula or kale on there. Just shove some extra greens on whatever you're eating is a great also first step for somebody who wants something very easy.
Very easy. That's a great way to incorporate more vegetables. Now, as far as protein, percentage of what we should be getting, should it be through like peanut butter, through steak, through chicken, through tofu? How should we be kind of looking at how much protein we should be getting each day?
I love this question. So the best way to prevent like cravings and overeating is to really commit to eating on a regular schedule. Hungry people make horrible decisions. That's the truth. And so if you're eating these regular meals, you're less likely to be craving junk. So that's the first step, is just committing to a regular eating schedule, feeding yourself. And then when you're looking at your plate, you're so right. Fruits and vegetables being on that plate, color, of course, but then the protein gives you real staying power. And the rule of thumb here is having a protein mix throughout the week, meaning don't just eat chicken all week. Don't just eat yogurt all week. Don't just eat eggs all week. You really look and say, okay, where am I getting my protein from? In each meal and each snack, there should be a protein source. So make sure there's a mix. So some snacks, maybe it's like roasted chickpeas. Some snacks, maybe it's nuts. Some meals, maybe it's lentil tacos. Some meals, maybe it's chicken stir fry. Really looking and saying, does each one of my meals and snacks have protein? And in the course of a week, have I had a wide variety of plant and animal protein?
So to mix it up. So one of the craziest things, especially speaking about protein, is I was talking with a friend of mine at a nameless restaurant who makes one of the best chicken dishes that I love in the city. And I order it all the time that I'm in there. And I was asking her about the recipe and just, giving my praises. And she said, the reason this tastes so good is because it's made with a stick of butter. Each chicken patty is made with a stick of butter, which at that point I was like, oh my, you think you're ordering healthy because I'm going to order the chicken option. But when you go out to eat, you may not necessarily be getting the healthiest meal.
Bam, exactly. This is like where the emoji, your brain explodes. It's like absolutely true. If you are trying to eat healthy at a restaurant and you think, wow, this tastes so much better than when I make it at home, whether that's Brussels sprouts or chicken or salad or whatever it is, it's because they're using a lot more added fat and sugar and salt than we do at home. So if you're thinking like, hey, I want to eat healthy at a restaurant, probably the best rule of thumb is one, don't go super starving, because bottom line, we all know what happens when you're starving. You make crazy decisions. And then two is just eat small, right? Whatever it is that you want on the menu, think about getting that and just splitting it with somebody or 2, 3, 4 people. And then you're really satisfied with what you ordered and you didn't just, kind of get that sabotage of eating healthy. And it's really just a ton of extra fat, calories, sugar, and salt.
And let's talk a little bit about your cheat meals or your cheat day. Are
you? I can't go on, Rudy. I can't go on. I can't hear the word.
What's a good way to call it as far as like something that maybe is not along the lines of what you've been eating the rest of the week? Should it be kind of one indulgence you should have? A lot of people say it should be one meal versus the whole day of like, it's Saturday, do whatever you want.
I love what you're asking here. And really, each and every meal we should enjoy eating. And so let's think about it like this. If you are being this perfect eater and you're in eating jail, you're just like shoving in the bland lettuce, you're shoving in the baked chicken, you're just like in jail and you just clamp down all week. You're going to lose your marbles on the weekend because you've been in jail. So you're like, oh my gosh, you won't have control. Even when people are like, oh, it's going to turn into this one cheat meal or whatever. No, it's usually just a blowout, right? It really is restriction binge cycle that you're creating. So during the week, still enjoying your meal. So even if it's like, oh my gosh, I love burgers. Well, you could get a quality beef, make a small burger and have a huge salad and have that for dinner so that you don't feel like I never get anything I want. Or if you love tacos, there's a way to make a taco salad very quick and easy that you could have for lunch every day of the week. So that on the weekend, you don't feel like finally I get to eat something delicious. And so, it takes time to make sure that each and every one of your meals has this vibe of health nuts and wild child, that every meal we eat should feel inside of us a nice balance. And then you never feel like you have to go off the rails because you have never locked yourself in food jail.
Oh, exactly. Let's talk about people exercising their calories away. That some people...
Oh my gosh!
I hit a nerve.
All of it. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're bringing this up. Okay. So that's exercise bulimia. It's actually a disorder. So if you're eating food and you're thinking, ooh, I'm going to go run this off, that is actually problematic. It is very prevalent in our society, but it is a very toxic mindset. Exercise is for a healthy, strong body, and separate from exercise is eating foods that make you feel good. And so you don't get to earn extra food or burn extra food off. It is toxic and it doesn't actually work.
Alcohol drinks, a lot of people will do a dry January. Other people may try to cut down a little bit, during the month of January. There's a lot of bottled cocktails that are marketed as low ABV or come in smaller cans. Is that something as far as like portioning out, where if we did want to have one where we know we're not opening up a bottle of wine and we're like, well, I'll have one glass now, and then this could be for the rest of the week, where you can just have, I can just have the small portion and that's it. And as far as desserts, what are some ideas as far as like if you wanted to incorporate something sweet into your diet?
Wow, there's a lot going on in that question, Rudy. He just got every question he could and just dumped it right in. I like it. I like it. Oh God. Okay, so let's take the alcohol piece first. I do like the idea of a dry, or what I call dry-ish January. And that is really just taking a look at how much you're drinking. And with many of us, the pandemic has brought extra drinking. So, thinking about cutting that back to a moderate amount, which for women is 1 drink a day or less, and for men it's 2 drinks a day or less. And no, you can't add it up and binge drink on the weekend. Like that's the first question everybody asks. No. So, getting into this habit of moderate drinking is a great idea. And it really is different for everyone. So if, like you said, that single serve is really the best for you, great. But I tend to tell all of my clients to do huge drinks. And here's what I mean. Is pouring a huge sparkling water and then putting a shot of your favorite alcohol in there and like a squeeze of citrus, because then you get all that extra hydration. It feels like you're drinking a lot. You get the flavor of the alcohol you're looking for with that little bit of citrus flair. And that really is a clean way to drink without added chemicals or flavorings or sweeteners. So that's really, I would say, try that, right? Give that a test. The sugar question is really big and loaded, because most of the time people have a sweet tooth because they're not eating balanced meals on schedule. So usually if somebody comes to me and says, oh my gosh, my sweet tooth is killing me. What can I swap? And it's like, oh, I can help you with some of that, but more than anything, it's like having these balanced meals on a schedule helps keep your blood sugar steady, so that you're not always, asking for sugar. So anyways, if you're looking for like a sugar swap, things that I really think are underused, and sometimes people like roll their eyes at a dietitian when we say this, is fruit. Fruit is a natural sugar. Now, just eating a piece of fruit does not mean dessert to me, but like making it into dessert. So having like a banana frozen and pureeing it into like nice cream, or having like a baked apple with a fabulous like low sugar granola on there, sort of like a crumble, or doing strawberries dipped in chocolate, or a big bowl of berries with some whipped cream. Those things really are sweet, and I love them. And if all else fails, I do have a recipe for chickpea cookie dough that has no added sugar. And so sometimes when people are like, will not do the fruit thing, my chickpea cookie dough tends to save the day.
that is amazing. And you just brought up one more thing. So let me just ask you one more question.
Yeah.
I've looked at myself when I'm like, I'm going to be doing A, B, and C, but I was like, I can't, I just want to have a cookie, and I just, want to be able to just not think about the calories I'm putting on my plate. Is that something where we should look and kind of check our meals? Are we getting enough protein? Are we balancing everything out? If you're seeing yourself having those cravings or seeing yourself getting frustrated throughout the process.
Yes, this is so great. A good sort of checkpoint is if you're really feeling like out of control, sweet tooth, or really having a hard time stopping eating, like the overeating is getting you, it is likely to look at the big picture to fix it, of balanced meals that you enjoy. So a lot of times what fuels overeating, what fuels a sweet tooth, is having these balanced meals that you hate. And so of course you're going to try and, any chance you get out of that food jail. So balanced meals, committed to that schedule, but also that you're enjoying each one of them, so you don't feel the need to go for sugar or go for junk food, is huge.
Thank you so much for this conversation. It's going to help a lot of people. It's definitely helped me and give me a new insight on on everything and not making everything seem as though like you're punishing yourself, but that you can enjoy the process. And I think that's the thing, is that we don't want to just, struggle through the first 2 weeks of January and give up. This is something we want to enjoy, 12 months throughout the year. You always have such wonderful advice. Let's check in again in a couple of weeks and kind of see where people are at.
I love that. Mwah!
Wow, you're the best. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Bye.
Bye-bye.